Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, Israel supposedly is ready, or reportedly, is ready to attack Iran's nuclear facilities without the American consent. I don't believe that a bit, but this is what they report. But the Iranians are getting ready to retaliate, to strike back. The Americans are evacuating their embassies in the Middle East. These are the topics for this video. First, supposedly, Donald Trump is upset a little bit with Mr. Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of the State of Israel, the Jewish state. I don't believe that. Supposedly, the Americans told the Israelis, you're on your own with Yemen. I don't believe that. Supposedly, the Americans told the Israelis, you're on your own here with Iran. We will not attack Iran. We will negotiate. And supposedly, the Israelis will make their own decision to go to war with Iran. And the Americans are doing what exactly? Sit on the sideline and watch? I don't believe that a bit. I think they will support the state of Israel. And we have Mr. Witkoff, the so-called U.S. Middle East envoy. So the envoy to the Middle East. He's Mr. Steve Witkoff. He's Jewish. It's okay. He deals with Putin. He deals with Zelensky. He deals with Middle East. He deals with North Pole. He deals with Kamchatka. He deals with everything. He's the one. Not Rubio, but Mr. Witkoff. So Mr. Witkoff tells us something that's very true. Very true. But he's not telling us, he uses euphemisms. He says that Donald Trump could lead both the United States of America and Israel because he's a fantastic friend for the Jewish people. So what does it, he can lead them both towards what exactly? Well, I think it's towards Iran. No, let's start. First article. Russia Today. 12th of June 2025. The United States of America authorizes partial evacuation of Middle East embassies. Washington reportedly believes Israel could strike Iran's nuclear sites without its approval. I personally refuse to believe that. The US has... Why? These guys are doing anything they want anyway. Anyway, the US has begun evacuating non-essential personnel and family members from its embassies and military bases in the Middle East in light of escalating tensions with Iran. What do you mean escalating tensions? Who escalated them? Iran? Israel? US? The move follows President Donald Trump's accusation that Tehran is slow-walking negotiations. My point is this. If you demand, you being the only country in the world's history who dropped atomic bombs, so you are guilty twice, and somehow you tell who can have it and who can't, which is idiotic. In the real world, you would not let a rapist do such a thing, being the judge in rape cases. No, he's going to decide who's who, what's what, unpunished, mind you. So what's going on over here? The United States of America is telling Iran that Iran cannot have peaceful nuclear, energy. Civilian. I understand the nuclear, even though who are you to demand that? I tell you who you are. That. Not the good guy. You're just that. So, but you don't tell the other guys the same thing? You don't inspect their little nuclear program? Why is that? So from the get-go, this is garbage. Double standard. Double standard. If you think that's fair, then try the easiest way. Put yourself in the other person's shoes. Let's see what these guys are saying. And I'm quoting, based on our latest analysis, we decided to reduce the footprint of our mission in Iraq. The State Department said in an email statement to the media on Wednesday. Reuters cited a U.S. official as saying that voluntary departures had also been authorized at the embassies in Kuwait and Bahrain. The Pentagon has likely approved the departure of family members from military installations in the region. CENTCOM is working in close coordination with our Department of State counterparts as well as our allies. Who are the fuck are your allies in the Middle East, you tell me? And partners in the region. Oh my God. Vassals, except one. to maintain a constant state of readiness to support any number of missions around the world at any time. Ready? Ready. In an interview with the New York Post aired on Wednesday, Trump said he was less confident about reaching a deal with Iran after 5 rounds of negotiations. Those were not negotiations. Those were ultimatums. When you negotiate, you have to give and take. And I say, okay, you give me everything you want, otherwise I punch you in the face, I beat you up. This is the US's negotiation. You do everything I tell you to do, otherwise I'm going to bomb you. Is that negotiation? Does that sound to you like negotiation? Or that sounds like an ultimatum, like a thug, like a bully boy? Give me your lunch, otherwise I'm going to punch you in the face. Let's negotiate. The negotiation is not how we reach that. The negotiation is, I'm going to punch you in the face or not. That's a negotiation. And you can avoid that by giving me what I want, anything I want. Now, let's say the Iranians say, okay, man, we agree, we give you that. What do you think the Americans will do next? Americans, you know who's behind America. What do you think they will do next? They will go and they will demand something else using the same threat. And then if the Iranians are going to agree with that, they're going to use another one. They want that. I want your car, I want your house, I want your boat, I want everything. Under the same one threat, I will punch you in the face. That's what it is. So why don't you just go and face reality and say, okay, let's see if you're going to punch me in the face. At the first attempt of blackmail, of threat, you want to punch me in the face for my house? Let's see how you do it. Fuck it, let's do it then. You have to stop it, otherwise it's going to come back and back and back and back. They will never be satisfied with a strong, united, uncontrolled Iran. Who's they? That country that starts with I, and it's not Iraq. Let's move back here. Right here, negotiations mediated by Oman. The president previously said he wanted to completely dismantle Iran's nuclear program. Who are you? Why don't you go to Israel, Tel Aviv, see what they have? Something Tehran has firmly rejected. It has its right to pursue civilian, peaceful nuclear enrichment and have it. And I'm quoting, Iran is not seeking a nuclear weapon. I know someone else who has it in the area, and it's not Pakistan. And US militarism only fuels instability. All right, so this is it, my friends. And he says here that the defense minister Aziz Nashizadeh warned that Iran would target all US bases across the region without hesitation. You got it? No, we're going to hit you with no hesitation. Clear? Why? Now, America doesn't have a problem with Iran because the Americans have a problem with Iran. The Americans don't have a problem with Iran per se. They are made by the media operatives to have a problem with Iran because Iran, oh my God, threatens someone else who gives us the media in the meantime, the Hollywood movies and the professors and all that. Who are those? I don't know. I can only guess. So that's how we have a problem with Iran. US can be friends tomorrow. The United States eliminate, let's say that state does not exist. Doesn't exist. I'm talking about Israel. Let's say it doesn't exist. I guarantee you the United States of America and Iran will talk differently and could be just partners and friends. I guarantee you that. But everything that is in the Middle East, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, even if you go to the guys in Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, all those guys are playing to the tunes of one fanatic entity. And that fanatic entity wants it all. But these guys don't understand. They will never stop. It's like a drug addict. The dose will increase. It will increase. The problem is when it's going to increase and it's going to have an OD, right? Overdose. When that's going to happen, we all going to have an overdose. That's the problem. The world will going to be pushed to an extreme, such an extreme, that is going to be either you guy resuscitate never and let you go, pass away, okay? Or we're going to have a boom, boom, bam, bam. Which one? Because those guys have no problem. When people have prophecies, and they believe in those prophecies, the prophecies must fulfill. Well, because they believe. You understand that? They believe. So for them, nothing is, when it prophesies right there, that's going to happen. It's right there, written, right there. After all, we promised us your land. So, oh my God. All right, let's move on. Sputnik. Israel poised for strike on Iran. US braces for fallout. US is waiting for an order. When these guys are going to order these guys something against these guys, that probably will happen. Israel notified the Trump administration in early May that it was preparing to attack Iran's nuclear facilities, adding that Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu might order a strike even if the US makes a deal with the Islamic Republic. You don't hear the other way around. You hear it only that these guys, the Israelis, want to strike these guys. These guys say, well, we're going to strike you if you don't shut the fuck up. Now, Israel is fully prepared to launch an operation against Iran and has already briefed US officials, anticipating potential Iranian retaliation, particularly against American targets in Iraq. Because of why? The support of what? The US has advised some citizens to leave the region. The State Department has ordered non-essential government personnel to evacuate Iraq, citing heightened regional tensions. Meanwhile, the Pentagon is allowing military families to voluntarily depart bases across the Middle East, according to the defense official. The military is not leaving the US. They want to minimize the response from the Iranians. That's what they do. They want to minimize the casualties. Instead of if the Iranians start striking back, if the Israel hits that, they want not to have, 300 or 3,000 casualties. They want to have, 150. Sounds better for the baboons here. And the media will make it in such a way that it's a crime because look what those guys did. Why? Because the other guys is right of self-defense. Got a spin? There you go. So they just evacuate the potential casualties and they left the military. Why? For a war. They have to keep the balance. How nicely they kept the balance in the past 33 years. I'm talking about the Americans, the equilibrium in the Middle East. That's a joke. Next. Trump could lead both US and Israel. Witkoff tells us, yes, what flag is there? Remember, this is supposedly a US billionaire, right there. That's a mark of a billionaire, okay? And he is right there. That's not the American flag as far as I remember. Nevertheless, and this guy supposedly goes and negotiates in the name of you and I, in our name, with the Iranians. It's like I would go and negotiate in a war between Hungary and Romania, and I'm, let's say, the American envoy to Eastern Europe. And I'm sent over there to negotiate with the Hungarians and with the Romanians, and I'm Romanian by genetics and other things. So, do you think I will be, I'm going to be impartial, and I'm going to be objective, and hey, Romanians, shut the fuck up, blah, blah, blah. Do you think so? If you think so, there's a lot of science fiction books over there, okay? Or fiction books that they call them right now. So there you go, he can lead both. But I don't remember Trump being anything to Israel. He's not elected or anything. The president's special envoy has called his boss an incredible friend of the Jewish people. Now, do you think that he's a friend, or he's on the? I mean, I know a lot of people who are so delusional, who are just loving someone who is actually, I'm not going to go to the Stockholm syndrome right now, but something like this. There are some people who are like dogs waiting for a pat from this group in order to do what? They feel empowered somehow with the Holy Spirit. The chosen like me. And the chosen will push them off the cliff. Great. Fantastic. Let's move to the next one. Sputnik, Iran prepares missile barrage if Israel strikes. Report. So the war is on. You ready? That's it. There's nothing. Israel is fully prepared to launch an operation against Iran and has already briefed US officials. CBS News reported earlier. This is from, what date? 6 hours ago, today on June 12th. Ready? Thursday. So they briefed and say, we will do it against Iran and has already briefed US officials, CBS News reported earlier. It added that anticipating potential Iranian retaliation, particularly against American targets in Iraq, the US has advised some citizens to leave the region. You got it? Iranian military and government leaders have already met to play their response to a possible Israeli strike, the New York Times says. New York Times, okay. There you have, my friends. Threats of overwhelming force won't change facts, Iran. Iran is not seeking a nuclear weapon, and US militarism only fuels instability. CENTCOM legacy of fueling regional instability through arming aggressors and enabling Israelis strips it of an incredibly credibility to Now the thing, see, I can't really read because I'm on YouTube. I should have clearly, with no problem, saying what these guys say. No, but anyway, diplomacy, not militarism, is the only path forward. Well, I hope so. Next one, Sputnik. Iran begins military drills, quote-unquote, focused on enemy maneuvers. So they're ready. They're ready for a war. The chief of the General Staff of the Iranian Armed Forces has ordered for the start of out-of-schedule military drills. The drills are focused on enemy maneuvers. So, are you going to go and fulfill someone else's prophecies? That's what it is. Remember, an addict will not stop. Has to be stopped. Who's going to stop them? And you can't stop them because he's armed equally. The maximum. You can't do anything to these guys. How are you going to do it? I suggested that the only thing that could be done, which is very, very, very unlikely, is if you can organize an operation that should last about an hour. So within an hour, a lot of things should happen in that particular state in order to freeze it. That is, take over the main military and not only capabilities in order to go and remove the whatever they have in their program over there. I'm talking about missiles. And then protect them from others so they cannot fuck them up. But you can say, well, immediately these guys are going to come and invade them, but those weapons will keep them apart. Well, I've never heard, maybe there is so, but I've never heard anybody, Iran claiming that they want the land of the other guys. But the other guys always want the land of everybody else. That's the root cause over there. Why? Because that was promised. And it says right here that promise that to us. And he loves us more than he loves you. Because he chose us. And we have a covenant. You know the covenant? Now, know what a covenant is? The covenant is this: I will be your chosen, but in order to do that, like we civilized people shake hands, and that's the covenant. Okay, man, deal, pak, and that's it, civilized. All right, our ancient Greeks and the Romans. All right, now these guys have a different way. They decided that they were going to take a knife and they're going to cut their little thing around their dick, and that's the covenant. Wow, isn't that deep? I'm always amazed how deep the philosophical understanding of the world and life in general these guys had when they were shepherding their little sheep, goats in the desert. Illiterate. Man, I'm so amazed. And our ancestors were writing philosophy and other things. But hey, what can you do, man? But you're Judeo-Christian. You dropped your guys for that. You guys, Plato, you dropped Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates, and many others. Okay, for that, the covenant, and for the burning bush, and now you're Judeo-Christian. Well, don't burn me on the stake. All right, don't impose anything on me. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.